And will, if Richard Cadver is going to try anything today, be an absolutely key component of EF Education's efforts, which is, as I think you're alluding to, it's not packed with climbing talent, but Alexander Seped is a climber.
Yeah. So that was the...
The Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green, spoke in the sectoral debate in the House of Representatives this week, where he gave a progress report on the 3 portfolio areas under his thumb. He also shared that massive investments are coming, especially for an irrigation project that has been mooted since the 1970s. The minister also took time to blast his opposition counterparts, noting that they don't even respect agriculture enough to have a parliamentarian from within the ranks of the parliament to speak about the very important issue. He's wondering if they're serious about agriculture. He joins me this evening on Lead Story to talk about the highlights of his presentation. Caption, right? It deserves a raise. That was a brilliant caption. So, what's up, Agri-Minister? And yeah, I'll find out who it is and I'll give them something myself out of, well, I have nothing to give, but anyway, never mind. Welcome to Lead Story here on CVM TV. My name is George Davis. So the Agriculture Minister, Minister of Fisheries and Mining as well, held court in the sectoral debate. You know that that's happening now. And he had a very important message for the country, talking about the recovery from the twin effects of Beryl and Raphael in 2024, also outlining the work plan from this point forward and making mention of a very important project, one that watchers of the news would have heard about since 1970, so several decades, the Pedro Plains Irrigation Expansion Project, and he spoke about that in the affirmative. But in case you missed the presentation, he also spoke about some other important things.
Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining Floyd Green announced several plans to boost the sector. One is the establishment of a pension scheme tailored specifically for farmers. The initiative aims to provide financial security for thousands of farmers in their later years. Speaking in the House of Representatives for his sectoral presentation on Tuesday, Green revealed that the ministry will be advocating for $1 billion in funding to seed the pension fund. This move is expected to benefit both full-time and small-scale farmers who have long operated without access to retirement benefits.
We will be advocating for $1 billion to seed that fund so that our farmers can put out a little thing. So just like every other profession, they can retire, cock up them foot and have a pension.
Meanwhile, Green announced that a total of 387 farmers received payouts exceeding $1.4 million in 2024 through the GK Weather Protect insurance facility. Of that amount, $1.32 million was disbursed to 352 farmers, while an additional $87,500 was provided to 35 others to support recovery from unexpected weather-related impacts. This initiative forms part of a parametric insurance program introduced through a partnership between the government and Grace Kennedy Insurance, GKI, offering coverage against wind, rainfall and drought for Jamaican farmers and fishers. In tandem with this announcement, the minister highlighted the government's allocation of $2 billion to the Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ. These funds are designated to support micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, with a portion specifically earmarked for agricultural development.
We are now in discussions with the DBJ to finalize an MOU with the Agro-Invest Corporation, which we are looking to reintroduce direct lending to farmers and agri-entrepreneurs. Madam Speaker, what has happened is that even when the DBJ provides the resources, when they go through the approved financial institutions, by the time it reaches to the farmers, the interest is so high that it proves prohibitive. We're establishing a model that we can lend directly to the farmers.
We discuss on Lead Story. Angela Melville for Lead Story.
Thank you, Angie. After the break, Floyd Green.
Join my private room. Only $1,000 for a grand time.
That I know me. We never said that. But who going to believe me?
That is correct. $4,350,000. Yes, go ahead. $4 million? I never approved that.
Yes, me go doctor tomorrow. So me have to get the money today, no longer. Then no me face that. We never make no record or beg nobody no money.
Deepfakes are AI-generated images and videos made to look and sound like people we know and trust. They're used to spread misinformation, destroy reputations, and are used to commit fraud and scams. Don't fall victim to deepfakes. Protect yourself. For more information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
Come rise with sunrise. Let Yendi and Dennis kickstart your weekend. Our first stop is with Carlton. We say farewell to your old banknotes in Money Masterclass. Then we sprint to Breakfast is Served. We'll hop over to Kids Unfiltered for an inclusive sports camp. And your morning wraps with music sensation Savannah. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
Welcome back to Lead Story here on CVM TV. The Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining is in the house, Floyd Green. Welcome to the program, sir.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. We have a short time and we want to give the viewers full value for their investment in spending time with us this evening. So what I want to cover mechanization, which is very important. I want to look at the issue of irrigation by itself. And I also want to look at research and development, which I think is, the bedrock of the future of the agriculture sector. Here's the thing now. Where the issue of mechanization is concerned, what have you done since you've been in office? What is slated to happen in this fiscal year?
So it has been a major focus of us. The reality is that with shortage of labor in agriculture and the change in climate, we have to be more efficient, we have to be more productive. So when we came to the ministry, we found 7 tractors at RADA. Definitely not enough.
For the whole island?
For the whole island. Definitely not enough. Since we've been there, we've purchased 11 tractors. We've purchased 5 backhoes to try and boost the RADA fleet. As you know, most farmers turn to RADA for supplying their tractor services for land preparation. We now have 6 tractors that will come this year. 2 have already come. Was presented in May to Manchester and St. Elizabeth. We have 4 that will arrive in July. So that will bring our fleet to around 22, thereabout. So significantly more. We'd have tripled the fleet in the time that we've been there, but we're doing more. We've recognized tractors are good, but you also need to help the smaller farmer. So we're going to do some walk-behind tractors. We're doing 6 of those that we will dispatch across the country. Farmers will be able to utilize, literally put on their farm, walk behind it, have plows, those things. We're going to do some rotavators. We're going to do some seed planters. We've done some. We're going to do some more. Some onion harvesters. We're going to bring in 2 of those. We have a good onion program. Nice flat land, St. Thomas, St. Elizabeth. We use the planters, but the harvesters now are important as it gets more difficult to get the people to harvest. Additionally, under our Hills to Ocean project, we're going to do 4 more tractors. We're also purchasing a D6 bulldozer for our research stations. If you go across the country, Mount Pelion, Bodles, in need of land clearance, very costly exercise, we should purchase our own. So we're doing that. So we are on a massive drive to really get fit for purpose mechanized tools that our farmers can use. Finally, we're investing about $60 million in drones. So the reality of modern agriculture, you used to get a man to come and spray, or you spray your farm, right? Again, hard to get the person, takes a long time. A drone can come in and do that in 15 minutes, right? So we're purchasing some drones, just like how farmers would go to rather for the tractor service. We're going to case already as a drone pilot program. So we'll have some of those young people who will work as drone pilots. You go for a drone service. You can spray, whether it be fertilization, chemicals, clearing of land, or even seeding. Some drones do.
Yeah. So, and all of the things that you say you are going to get, it's this fiscal year.
This fiscal year. And that's why I was very clear to outline how many. So when we say we're getting 6 high-powered tractors, 2 have already come. 4 are already in procurement, will come in July. When I say we're getting 4 more tractors, I identified the source of funding, $43 million from Hills and Ocean. I told you the parishes, St. Thomas, Trelawney, because that's a specific program that we're getting it from. All the other smaller equipment are already in procurement, will come this fiscal. So everything that I presented in that regard is for this fiscal. The $60 million for drones, this fiscal year.
Yeah, and I'm tempted to ask you about, you spoke about the walk behind tractor. I remember back in the days of my youth, I saw what was popular in the island was the Nibby tractors that
yes, so
you remember the blue Nibby?
I went into Clarendon and I saw a man who still has one. And we got to talking, and that's one of the, when I interact with farmers, you listen to them. And he has had his from the 80s.
Yes.
And he highlighted that there was a program in the 80s, some partnership between the government at the time and an external government that provided a number of them.
Yes.
But most of them had fallen into disrepair.
Yes.
He still had up his and was still utilizing it. And again, he said one man out there doing him like a plowing, and he would be able to help other farmers in the area. So we're getting back there.
All right, here's that. So by virtue of the mechanization that is being built out with the tractors and the drones and the support machines, what should domestic crop production look like? And as an attendant question, is domestic crop production set to increase to boost exports, boost feeding the local economy? What is the priority where the boost in that area is concerned?
Both. So we have 4 strategic priorities: food security, agribusiness development, climate smart technology, and export expansion. So in everything we do, we think primarily, firstly, about food security, feeding ourselves, but there are some crops that are ideal for export expansion. So we're looking for both. It should increase our productivity, right? We always talk about production, it's important to get the numbers, but we also want to do more in 1 acre. So we want to produce more while using less land so that the farmers can get a better return on their investment. But it should also impact our growth numbers. We got to our highest domestic production in 2022. Right, and that was a lot of strategic intervention by the ministry. COVID time, that was 800,000 tons. Since that, we haven't been back there, but despite the weather events, we've hit our 2nd highest. Despite Hurricane Beryl, Tropical Storm Rafael, and drought, we hit our 4th highest. So we are building some resilience. I say that because part of what we want to do is build resilience. We want to ensure that despite hurricanes, despite drought, that we are at a base that can satisfy our local demand. So we are trying to push local demand, but we also have some strategic crops that we're targeting. So we want to build up more orchards. Ackee, breadfruit, mangoes. The ackee and the mangoes, while we do eat a lot of ackee and mangoes, export markets are prime for those. Breadfruit, superfood. So we do a bit of both, but what we're looking to do, increase productivity and definitely grow production.
We're children of the 80s, correct?
Yes.
All right, good. So before we were born, I know that there was a lot of talk about the Pedro Plains irrigation expansion project. Are you getting it done finally?
We're getting it done. It has started. Sometimes people find that hard to believe because you don't see any work on the ground. But just to give you a backtrack, and clearly it's an area I'm very familiar with. When I became member of parliament, we went out, we heard about this project for a long time. First thing we had to say, can it really happen? Right? Because nobody had done a feasibility study to see if it could happen. It was just anecdotal talk. So we did a feasibility study with partners from the French government. French company came in, we looked at the surface flow, we looked at the demand across the plains, how much acres you could cover, and we did a preliminary preliminary design. We did that between 2017 to about 2019, 2020. Once we did that and we started to do some preliminary work, that means cadastral mapping. So it's important. So the system is designed to take water from the Black River, to bring it into reservoirs and then to feed it to Pedro Plains. So we went through that to do some cadastral mapping to say we need to run easements. In order to run the easements, you have to have the titles. A lot of the lands in St. Elizabeth do not have titles. So one of the big pluses of this program is that 1,000 people will get titles free, right? And we've already mapped those 1,000 parcels. In fact, as the preliminary work, because we had a budgetary allocation last year of about $1 billion, we mapped 19,000 parcels that would benefit from the irrigation. We also did a further demand study, asked people, now that you get the water, how much would you expand? So that we know what we're looking at when we're doing piping. Where we are now is to get into the civil work, right? So finish the final designs of our preliminary design. You know, you have to go on the ground now to the final design and to start the pipeline exercise. Prime Minister will break ground for this project in July of this year.
And my producer is kidding, but based on where you are now, with the Pedro Plains irrigation expansion project, if all goes well, we should be finished when?
It's a 5-year project.
5 years.
Right? But it will be done in phases. When I say it will be done in phases, you won't have to reach to the end of the 5 years
to get the benefits.
To start seeing the benefits. I think we'll start seeing benefits in probably about 2.5 years, right, when we do phase 1. And it's not that we're going to do phase 1 and stop. The project has been approved by PIMC, our internal project management group, for 26 billion. That has gone to Cabinet. Cabinet has approved that. We already have 1.2 billion this year to start the civil work. Once that gets up and running, then it will move forward. So you'll get the benefits before.
A generational project, he says, work is already well underway. Pedro Plains irrigation expansion project, been around since the 1970s. He says he's getting it done. Back with more lead story after these.
Serves a home filled with love. When hope meets heart, a new journey begins.
Welcome home, David.
Welcome, David. Make it your own.
Family is built on moments shared.
Go, David, yes!
Every smile and every shared moment connects us with a brighter future. Here, you're not just welcomed, you're family. Foster hope, foster love, foster a child today. Contact the CPFSA for more information.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Welcome back to Lead Story here on CVM TV. The Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green, is with me, consequent upon his presentation in the sectoral debate in the House of Representatives about 24 hours ago. Minister, the time is here now where farming practices have had to change because of what's happening in the environment. The climate, much different. Seeds have to be selected differently. The way that people farm will have to be done differently. What is the planned investment in research and development to keep pace with the changing climes?
You know, I think one of the biggest tragedies of our agricultural sector over the last 2 decades is how we've allowed our research facilities to deteriorate. Whether that be Bodles, Mount Pelew, Hounslow, all of them just never got the investment. We have been on our research infrastructure development program. Started with 1.2 billion, focused on Bodles, to build back laboratories, to do over the dairy, to build a new goat house, things of that nature that you need to drive research, to bring irrigation, to deal with the water issues at Bodles, do a new well, do a tank. Very, very important. Now we are in a $6 billion project to not just continue to work at Bodles, but also to deal with Hounslow, Mount Pelion, Top Mountain, all our research stations. And we've identified special projects for them. So for example, in Hounslow, they're going to focus on our small ruminant sector. We're going to do a new goat house, new fodder banks, and we've identified what we're doing in Mount Pelion, focus on turmeric, ginger, and the Jamaica black. So we are putting the money in the infrastructure. Additionally, we're doing things like a seed certification unit. We're doing a seed bank at Bodles. We're doing a gene bank where we're looking at our local gene stock and trying to preserve that. That's very, very important. But also we have to do more work around varieties. So as I said in the house yesterday, the banana board, working with R&D, have looked at what new varieties that we need to bring forward that will help us with things like TR4 that we're trying to keep out, that will deal with the climate. So we have 3 new banana varieties we're bringing to the fore. We've done a lot of work in sweet potato. We're bringing some clean planting material to the fore. We've looked across the world. We see the Hass avocado pear doing very, very well. We are doing a pilot now to see how we can do in Jamaica. How does it stand up to the climate? We're doing some work on coffee, right? We want to bring a new variety of coffee by end of 2026, 2027. And again, these things are critical. Also expanding the work that we do around soil. Majority of our farmers still plant in soil. You have to do the data, you have to know the data, you have to do the soil testing, know your nutrition regime. So we've got some new equipment at our land management. We've brought on the time from 6 weeks to 2 weeks. Still need to do some more. We're rolling out some soil testing kits. So that our extension officers, when they go out into the field, they can do a basic soil test and say to the farmer, well, listen, don't use your regular fertilizer regime. Use this. So we are focused on the research behind agriculture.
All right. A couple of things before we go. Gisco Alpart.
Yeah, something that we've been really working with the owners, Gisco, to try and get back up and running. We've had multiple meetings with them. Our last meeting, Minister Witt and I had about 2 months ago. Sat down, we said, listen, we kind of need a more definitive time frame. We came out of there with positive framework. They did indicate that they were going to hire about 300 Jamaicans to do an asset verification exercise. That has happened, and they were about 10 Chinese worked with them on that. They said that was a precursor for them to start their push towards reopening come the end of this year, around December of this year. We know it will take some time to get up and running, but once that push starts and people start getting employed, it will be big news for that area.
So are you confident that end of December timeline will be kept?
I am confident based on the fact that they gave us a timeline regarding the asset verification.
And that happened.
And they stuck to it, right? They have a new team here. So I'm confident that they are much more serious than when we just started. I think when we just started, they were still feeling out how much they needed to do. Alpart is very important. It's our only high temperature plant, which means some of the bauxite that we have left, only Alpart can process it. And we know what it does for our GDP. So we're really looking to work with them to get it up and running.
People say that you are facing one of the PNP's best newcomers to politics in Southwest St. Elizabeth, and that you're a bit vulnerable at this time. Is this true?
You know, I never look at the other candidates. Every time, every candidate comes with their strengths and weaknesses. I've never focused on the other candidate. You'll never hear me on a platform reference another candidate, because the truth is in Southwest St. Elizabeth, regardless of what the other candidate is doing, it's about what we do. Right? We know that when we put in the work, we have a majority that we can take out. Right? We know that we have a track record that can stand up to any scrutiny. We've done the work over the years, and there's more to be done. So I'm not concerned, but we don't take anything for granted. This is politics, right? And you have to be consistent. You have to keep working, and that's what I've done. You know, since I came into Southwest in 2014, I've maintained almost my same sort of approach. I go to everything. You'll see me at your funerals. You'll see me at your setups. You'll see me at your dances, because I always want to be with the people, representing the people. More than that, we've achieved a lot. I mean, infrastructure, some of the roadways that were impassable are now drivable, and we keep moving forward. water. Black River Pipeline was laid in the 1960s. We've changed that pipeline. Places like Lancewood never had water. We've brought water in there. But education-wise, we've also done a lot with the Newell High School, with Black River High School. So many representatives said they would take Black River off shift. That has happened. The hospital found it as a type C, it's now a type B. Still challenges, so still more work to be done. So I've never been concerned about who the other side puts up. I've only been concerned about where are we, how is our organization, is our message reaching, and ensure that we get the work done.
The history of the last 5 to 7 general elections suggests that whomever takes Southwest St. Elizabeth in terms of the party, then that party will take the keys to Jamaica House. Does that put you under even more pressure to deliver this for the JLP?
Well, we in Southwest know that we are the key, and that's why we're confident that the Prime Minister will have a third term. The Prime Minister was with us on Saturday, and I think even himself, we had a workers' meeting and the outpouring was tremendous, and that was with 2 days telling people that the Prime Minister is coming. We know that we are the vanguards, and we're that way because of how our people are. We're very proud, we're very hardworking, we are not dependent on government, and there are certain things we want to see our country move forward around. We want to see nationally we're doing well, we want to see connectivity, we want it to be easier to get home in St. Elizabeth. So like how we have the Williamsfield Highway now, we want to see the breaking ground for the bypass for Spurtree. And the good thing is that the Prime Minister has outlined a clear plan of work that benefits us in a big way. And with Pedro Plains on the horizon, with the highway on the horizon, with all that is happening in Black River to lead the Black River rebirth, I'm very confident that the people don't want to see a change now. So we kind of like the pressure because we know when we secure the victory, which we will, the Labour Party will secure the third term.
Hear you on that. Thank you for your time this evening. Floyd Green, the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, also the Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth. He's saying all comers can come. He and his team are ready. That's my time. I make way for the news at 7.